So let's move ahead very quickly with our panel discussion. Now, I want to take this privilege of introducing our panelists today. Our first panelist and our first mentor and speaker in the panel discussion is going to be Dr. Nayan Prakash Gandhi. Dr. Nayan Prakash Gandhi is the ex-state advisor, RDT, Government of Raj, UN, SDG Global practitioner, youth activist, and he's a trainer, writer, media columnist, and academic researcher in Kota, Rajasthan. Now, our second panelist and mentor is Dr. Ashok Gupta. He is an educationist. He's an author, chief editor, joining us from the beautiful city of Mumbai. Now, our third speaker and mentor is Dr. Anju Arya. Now, I want to make this request to our, okay, there she is in the panelist list. So let's move ahead. So Dr. Anju Arya is the IQAC Director and Dean, R&D, Sri L.T. Tiwari College of Engineering, Maharashtra. And our fourth panelist and mentor is Dr. D. Onika. She is the Associate Professor and Head of Commerce, Partition College of Arts and Science, Tamil Nadu. And last but not the least, our fourth mentor and speaker is Sheilan Mishra, and she is going to be the moderator today. Sheilan Mishra is the Head of Management and Studies at ED Cell New Horizon College of Engineering, joining us from Tamil Nadu. And very quickly, I would like to take the names again, as I want to respect all of our mentors once again. Dr. Nayan Prakash Gandhi, Dr. Ashok B. Gupta, Dr. Anju Arya, Dr. D. Onika, last but not the least, Sheilan Mishra. I welcome all of you. And Sheilan Mishra, again, I will say, is going to be the moderator of the panel discussion. So let's start this panel discussion. The topic of the panel discussion is going to be NEP fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in education to change the future. I welcome all of you with my open heart, and I request all of you to turn on your cameras and start the session.
Yeah. Hello, Samaira. How do you want us to take the session forward?
With due respect, ma'am, just start any way you like. You're the moderator.
All right, fantastic. There is some kind of rehearsal, going in my campus. So you may, hear some background noise in between. So please pardon me for that. Meanwhile, let's start. So very hearty welcome to all the panelists of this session in the national webinar. And the topic that we are going to cover in this panel is National Education Policy, a way forward to change the future. And I was able to witness two of our previous speakers who elaborately have given a lot of information on the national education policies and what are its key features. I warmly welcome our panelists, Dr. Anju Arya, Dr. Nayan Prakash, Dr. Ashok B. Gupta, and Dr. D. Unika. So we have been hearing a lot about it. And in fact, I'm from the state of Karnataka. I'm heading the Department of Management Studies and ED Cell in New Horizon College of Engineering. And our Chief Minister has recently made an announcement that Karnataka is going to be the first state to implement NEP from this year itself. So this is something interesting which is coming up because this is generating a lot of discussions across. How is it we should go ahead about serving the purpose of NEP, which has been introduced, which has been come into the forefront now. Since the panel talks about entrepreneurship and innovation, so I would just like to build a quick context around it, that a lot is happening when we talk about entrepreneurship and innovation. From last 3 years, especially 3-4 years, from the time government has come out with the PM Yuva Yojana and then Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. And right now, if you see, the National Innovation Startup Policy Initiative is going on, where a lot of institutions have become part of it. People have joined that as an innovation ambassador. So somewhere, if you see, a lot of work is happening at the grassroots level. And if we look at this scenario, it looks like that we are getting ready to get into the full-fledged implementation of NEP, which majorly focuses on the critical thinking and creativity, right? And then further leading to the innovation. Now, there are various channels through which this particular vision will be achieved, right? Be it catalyzing our entire school education till the degree education and giving a lot of options to people, right? So the idea is, can we reduce the dropout ratios at the higher education level? Because this is where people take the decision to build their career, be it in professional life or be it becoming an entrepreneur. So going by that, I would like to ask my panelists, how do they think? What kind of things should be done with the help of NEP? What is that institution should be doing at the grassroots level practically, which will help the students to imbibe this concept of critical thinking and creativity? They're also open for their own views, but I'm sure they would have something in mind to share about this topic today. So let's give the stage to our panelists, and may I request Dr. Ashok B. Gupta, so to please present his views.
First, I thanks to giving me this opportunity for today's platform. See, till up to date, our old education policies are there, but in coming new education policies 2020, there is a more changes. That changing is from starting level. We all know that in new education policy, they're having the step from 5, 3 plus 3 plus 4. So in that manner, they still up to the 5th standard, there is no any the hard work for the student. But after 5th standard, when the student enter in the 6th standard, so they are having more changes in their syllabus, and this syllabus is I think it is a good for our new generation, because in this syllabus, first they introduce with the computer coding. Computer coding is a very play a very important role in IT sector. So in new education policy, they introduce the computer coding. Second thing, they're having the vocational and technical courses, including with their syllabus. This also helps the student, and this is a depends on the choice of the student. If the student interested in the any kind of electrical work or any tailoring work or any kind of work, they can choose their syllabus. So this is a basic starting of their career, because this is a depends on their interest. So I think this is a better way to start the it's a good innovation of a new education policy, that our government is taken a good decision to introduce this part. So this is a basic starting point of our new generation, that is from schooling level. And after that, when they completing their 8th standard, when they enter 9th standard, previously we having the, you should prepare for the after 9th standard, you have a 10th standard, you go for the board examination. But in new education policy, there is a no board examination. That board examination is in a form of a home examination, that is in semester base. From 9th standard, they're having the semester base. 6 monthly semester they having, and they having the also they having the choice of the language and their interest of the any subjects. Means that is from 9th to 12th standard, they having a depends on their interest and depends on their choice. You can, if you have the interest in history and you also want to take a one subject from science, so you can take. So this, I think, in my view of that, so it is a good opportunity for our generation, that they can choose a subject depending on their interest. So it is a first step for the entrepreneurship or good innovation. And also the student who are interested for they can interest take any foreign language. So there is option is there, because the many students they start their career from India. They are going in Japan, and so they can take any language in this 9 to 12th standard. So there is a flexibility in this 9 to 12th standard, and before of that from 6 to 8 standard they're having the technical as well as vocational and also the computer coding. So these courses and these are the, I think, very much help to our generation, and they can motivate for their career, for the new innovation and the entrepreneurship. I think our others panelists, they can whatever that they are agree or not, you can share your that
Hey,
what.
Dr. Ashok, thank you. Thank you so much for those wonderful points that you've shared with us. And certainly there is a lot to happen. There's a lot happening. But I see India is not a small country. It is a huge country, right? And when it comes to bringing everything to a same ideology, same platform, it takes time. You know? So this is seen as a bigger challenge. And what is that? What is the consensus of all the states? Implementing it at the similar level.
Yeah.
So this is one of like challenges which I see. Because right now also a lot of discussions are going on regarding this, that how is that NEP is going to help each and every state of India. Anyways, coming back to our topic of the webinar session, Dr. D. Unika, may I now reach out to you for sharing your views on this. How is that NEP is showing us the way towards more innovative and enterprising system? How is it our education will lead us to the more enterprising system? Looking forward to your views, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Very good evening. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And you really started anchoring beautifully as a moderator of this session. And even in the beginning that you have rightly pointed out that we have started well. Our journey towards the innovation and creating entrepreneurs have started well. I also agree with you and add on with you. Let me share my experience as a faculty and the head in Arts and Science College. Earlier, innovation, entrepreneurs, and incubation were the strange words. We never heard about it. We never experienced it. But for wonder, we have created a separate cell. We have, registered it. We have activated it. And 11 ambassadors are created by the MHRD who are specially trained to look after the students, those who are coming up with new innovations. So I can proudly say that we have successfully started our journey. And as you said rightly, India is a big country. Definitely it will take time to implement everything. But I would like to add on something on this, out of my observation and experience. Like when it comes as ideas and innovations and of your, new thoughts, I can experience there is an imbalance among students. Like ideas and innovations are more in the midst of engineering students, but it is so weak, I can say rather, among the arts students. Maybe that's because of the input or the syllabi or the knowledge that they get, or because of the encouragement that they get. That is something that I would like to highlight on this. More of innovations from engineering students and life science students, but less of the commerce and art students. So how are we going to take them forward? And maybe our new education policy can identify them and support them.
Wonderful. So, ma'am, can I start, ma'am? Dr. Dionika? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. In fact, I should say those are very dynamic thoughts that you've added. So suddenly there is a lot of spark that I see in the panel discussion, and a very, very valid point. Because this is a trend which I have also noticed. When I look at the ideas coming from, where are they coming from? Most of them come from engineering students. When I look at my BCom, MBA, MCom students, they somewhere, see, I will not say, but I'm just talking about the pattern that we have noticed. Yes, they are more towards job seeking, not the job creation, right? So it's out of 100, I see 2 students of MBA or BBA who will come forward, say, we want to do something. Maybe later in life they will start, but I'm talking about the time when they are getting education from us. Whereas in case of engineering, maybe provided it's a 4 years course, it's a lengthy course where students go through, different types of patterns in their learning. And if you see right now, being in the, like Silicon City of India, IT city of India. So somewhere that startup trend is more in the technology. So at least when I go state-wise, yes, this is a trend even I see in Karnataka. But as you mentioned rightly, there is a disparity among the courses, the kind of thought which are imbibed into the students, right? So maybe this is what reflects when students come out with their ideas. So very, very valid point. I think we can have further discussion on this again. So moving on, because we are short on time, and I will quickly request my next panelist. Do we have Dr. Nayan Prakash Gandhi ji with us? Yes, Dr. Nayan, over to you, sir.
Yeah. So at first, good evening to everyone. If we look at if I talk about as a National Education Policy 2020 impetus to entrepreneur revolution, because this is just we cannot we can say there is no denying the fact that the Indian education system, through one of the credible ones among developing nations, left a lot to be desired, especially on the entrepreneurial front. To keep pace and plug gaps, the government of India has replaced this 34 years of old education system, and now we look at in the form of National Education Policy 2020. So if we look at for preparing a roadmap, as I concern for entrepreneurship, then given the explosive path of technological development allied with sheer creativity, the NEP promotes student entrepreneur with exposure to vocational education in partnership with industry and in alignment with the sustainable development goals, for which our UI incubation system, that forum, is going to accomplish this also by this forum. And if you look at that in this integration of vocational education with educational offering in all institutions by choosing focus area based on skills gap analysis and mapping of local opportunities, will develop entrepreneur competencies besides capacities, and will go a long way to make vocational education a part of the larger vision of holistic education. So I think definitely the focus on technical education is decisive for India's overall growth and development, and is also well addressed in NEP. So I think that NEP is just like a synonym for move forward the entrepreneur system in India.
Wonderful thoughts, Dr. Nayan. Thank you so much for sharing. So this just kind of gave me one more idea. So when I look into the syllabus, of our various subjects that we are teaching at different levels, and look at the books referred there, right? And we want to bring in any case study. I have seen many times foreign author book, is prescribed many of the times, right? And many of the times teachers are bringing in the foreign case studies. Now, if we have to solve the problems in India, then I think we should bring in the experiences which are Indianized, which are Indian, right? Because the context in which foreign case studies are built, foreign books are built is entirely different than the kind of life we live in India. So maybe somewhere, those basics have to get right, more right. And that is what maybe will stimulate the thinking, the critical thinking in the students, where they will have that Indian approach to solve the problems. When I listen to Professor Devdutt, the Chief Belief Officer, I think the way he has brought in the entire Indian mythology, into how to the management practices, it's very beautifully imbibed. So if we look at our own, Indian practices, we get beautiful lessons in management. We do not have to go out and seek advices from there. It's all there with us in our own country. We just need to explore it. So with this sort of thought, moving forward, may I request Dr. Anju Arya to please move the discussion forward.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Thanks for giving me opportunity. First of all, I would like to say we are talking about entrepreneurship and innovation, right? And one of the panelists mentioned that the most of the engineering colleges are coming up with the startups. Okay, so I would also like to raise the point, even the engineering students are not getting opportunity because these students are already overloaded with their curriculum. I have seen, I'm working with an engineering college, I have seen students are engaged in their theory part only. Every time they're so much overloaded. Actually, before we expect from them any startups or entrepreneurship, we should introduce in the curriculum itself. We should give them some time, like in 8th semester or in 7th semester, any semester, that should be completely dedicated to entrepreneurship, for their innovation, for their internship, or any research ideas, for any innovative ideas. Even I've seen AICT has made mandatory the internship for the students. Throughout the 4 years, they have to complete at least 600 hours. Okay, but it has not been considered by all the universities. Okay, AICT has made mandatory, but the university has not considered their credits. That's why students are not getting motivated. Okay, so even they are not, only they are getting 1 month time after the vacations. It has been made mandatory after 2nd semester, after 4th semester, they have restricted the time. In 1 month, how much technology they are going to learn? One more point I would say, one of the Madam Unika ma'am, if I'm not wrong, she mentioned that only the engineering students can do, commerce and art students are not aware of it. I would like to say this concept is completely from my side. I'm not saying you are wrong, ma'am. I don't take it otherwise, but we should not keep in this mind if we are from arts background, from commerce background, we cannot have innovative idea, or we are behind those technology people. I know this is the era of technology, but innovation can be generated from any mind. Even the engineering students cannot develop any startup independently. They are taking help of other skilled person. So the same way, the art person, the commerce person, if they have innovative idea, they can help they can take the help of skilled person. At least come up with the idea and take the initiative to start something. Okay, if technology is required, take the help of skilled person, technology person. If related to business, any commerce related idea, you can take the help of other people. Engineering people are also taking help of CAs. They are taking help of MBAs. They are taking help of accountants, like that, to grow their startups. So I think equally all people can contribute. But the thing is, students should get the opportunity. They should get the time. They should not be overloaded. They are so overburdened whenever we are giving them projects. Like you give the project, you have to prepare your black book, this and that. Always they say sometimes they copy it, paste it, and they submit, because they said they are not getting time. They were engaged in the examination. They were engaged in the term test. They were engaged in assignments, this and that. Okay, so many commitments they have. So I think before we give them any task, before we expect something from that, we should give them some time. We should be able to plan the strategy accordingly. no doubt, NEP is really good. They have come up with innovative ideas. But besides that, the practical thing should be kept in mind. Like AICTE, I have taken the example internship wala. If they are coming up the internship, it should be mandatory to everyone. University should have to accept their rules. Okay, even for entrepreneurship, if they are giving, even I have seen, if they are sanctioning the amount, sanctioning the funds to the research and all, there is some, I don't know, the release of the fund is not satisfactory. I feel that is not justified sometimes. So there should be some panel who can justify, who can actually select the good startups and properly they can release the fund. The system has to be proper so that we can make this NEP successful. One more point I would like to add. They said in second semester they can leave the course in between. After third sem also they can leave. And after many years they can start from the same point. In that case also there should be some criteria, right? If they are leaving after second sem and after many years they are going to start with the same semester like from third semester, then there should be some refresher course, at least for 1 month, for 2 months, wherever they can refresh their previous work. Otherwise, I don't know how capable they will be to cope up with the third semester. Okay, because I have experienced myself, after a long gap, I did my PhD. I have done from IIT Bombay. Then I realized that after a long gap, I was not able to cope up with the subject. Even I was expert, I was gold medalist. After that also, I could not be able to justify with my research. So I had to go through so many things. Thank God they have criteria of coursework, so I could brush up my knowledge. The same thing should be there before they are again starting their education. Thank you, ma'am. That's the only point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anju, for sharing those wonderful points. Something which I actually agree with you. If you look at NEP, the ideologies, can we make our education more experiential? So which will take care of, too much of theory which is being taught at most of the institutions today. Right. And somewhere, as an academician, I also feel there is too much that we're trying to cover in the lesser time, and then we're not reaching anywhere. So now it becomes the game of who's that can capture it more in the lesser time, who has that higher IQ, who can do it all in that lesser time. Whereas the focus should be, can we do something substantial, even if it is less, right? So somewhere it boils down to the process of delivering the education. Right. So can we make our process very robust, whether it's about the very innovative experiential delivery of the lectures, or is it AICTE releasing funds to the institutions, and seeing that what exactly had happened at the grassroots, how the activities are taking place. So we are doing too much in too many places. So sometimes the monitoring becomes difficult. So because finally it's the outcome. So if you're not achieving the outcome by doing too much, then I think we should not look at doing so much. Somewhere we have to rethink on the content that is going to our students, because in this path of making them learn too much, maybe somewhere we're killing that creativity aspect in them. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying, ma'am. For creativity, a thought process is required. Students should have some leisure time to think about it.
Yes. So creativity in kids, and by the time they graduate, creativity in them. If you just do that comparison also, I think we'll be able to get answers to a lot of our questions. So,
ma'am, I would like to add one point.
Yes, Dr. Nain.
Yeah. Actually, of course, you are right. No doubt, the NEP is very ambitious and futuristic for radical transformation of job seekers into job creators. But I think that much of its success depends upon on its level of education, monitoring of that whole system. That I would like to add.
Yes. Well said. I think that has to be there, certainly. And somewhere this multidisciplinary aspect, which is again the focus in NEP, should also help us to solve this issue, the pattern which Dr. Unika and I was talking about, the pattern of engineering students coming with more ideas. Maybe they're more in numbers also, there can be many reasons for that. But multidisciplinary approach, should somewhere, acts as a catalyst to bring in more creative thinking among all these young people. So I think we have finished one session, one round with all our panelists, and also keeping the time in mind. Let me quickly.
Sheila ma'am, can I share?
Yes, ma'am. Your chance
Yes,
is
ma'am.
coming. Just give me 1 minute, then I will, request you
Yeah,
to
yeah,
share.
please go ahead.
So we are going with our second and the final question to all the panelists. So what do you think should be done, keeping this NEP in mind? So I'm talking about now the practical part of it, not the theoretical part, what NEP has told. Under this NEP, let's keep those as a basis. Can you suggest those 1 or 2 things which you feel should be done by the institutions to make the NEP intent possible, resulting into some substantial outcomes? So can you please share your thoughts around that? Unika ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, before I move on to your second question, I think our today's panelists, though the NEP is formed by the policymakers at the apex level, and today as a panelist, we are sharing from our experience. As Anjuma was rightly pointed out, she was sharing her PhD experience, where if you could allow a candidate after the break, you need a refresher. That was beautifully stated. And to add on what ma'am said is, when we move on to the final level, there's a possibility of pulling in all the experts from various fields. But my worry is that the innovation or the idea of thinking new, the chances are more among the engineers than in the commerce. So that is to add on. And to your question, ma'am, like what is that expected from the institution is that there is no option given for us. So we have to go by the new education policy. We have to see what best and how best it can be implemented. The entire aspect is on one single point is that we are moving towards the upgradation or modernization of our education system. So, and we must be open-minded and broad-minded to accept the changes and to implement the changes. You must have been experiencing that there is much of reluctancy and opposing and negativism about the education policy. This shouldn't be there among the educational institute. There is the one best symptom or the one best attitude of an education is that we must ready to accept our changes. So institute as well as the educationist must be ready to accept the changes and think of what best we can do in order to implement at the best level.
Thank you so much, Unika ma'am. And going forward, I request all the panelists if they can kind of just take 2 minutes to give the answers. Ashok sir, so can you share what is that we should be doing at our grassroots level, practically, to create, to envision the NEP?
Madam, I'm the 29-year experience of the both. I have a trustee of the both commerce and science colleges. I having the both experience. I am having the result of both commerce students as well as science students. And last 10 years, I am watching that the students are not interested to going in science stream because there is a reason. Because first reason is their syllabus. Student, they are very clear, they are something, but according to our NEP framework, the syllabus after 12th standard, they are the engineering or medical, and in engineering and medical both are they having the 5 years, not less than of 5 years, because 3 years and half and internship they having the after the internship they are not secure their any good placement. They can see here today we are having the innovation and the entrepreneurship. So innovation is a different part and entrepreneurship is the different part. after the 5 years when they having a BTech, but they are not the proper to stand and they can establish their business, or they can establish any kind of their self-dependence work, because the first thing is the economical, and second thing, they are not having the strong experience, because the companies and all the industries, they are not allowing this such type of student in internship. They are giving only basic of their industries work. So I think in a new education policy, and we the educationist, and we are first, I see the result of this new education policy. It is not a very easy task to that cover this to start and cover all the part of this new education policy 2020. I think after 10 years, the result, when the result is coming out, that time we can having the how can again we can change in that position, because when the new education, there is a very good educator are there, and also in this 2020 education policy, our NASA scientists are there for the to framework this new education policy. We are trying, we are having good things for, but for the innovation, for entrepreneurship, we can talk with the industries and companies that you can cooperate our engineering student in a in the mid of the term, not the end of the term. They are having an internship in the end of them. Why not after 2, 3, 4, third or fourth semester? Why not you?
Very well said. Very well said, Ashok.
Yeah, you give only 15 days, 10 days internship for, I think, in my experience, I give after second semester, you can start 10-day internship. So they can easily stop the drawback. The student took admission in engineering, but they are not completing. There is not 100% of result of the output. So this is a not good thing. This is a not a good sign of our education policy.
Very well said, sir. Sir, just keeping time in mind, if you please permit me, can I move on to Dr.
Yes,
Nayan?
yes, yes.
Dr. Nayan,
Yes,
can you
yes.
please quickly share, if it takes just 2 minutes to share your views on this? What is it you think we should do at the grassroots level to implement NEP? Dr. Nayan, are you there?
I think she is not there. Gandhi.
Then Dr. Anju, can I move to you? Can I
Yeah, ma'am.
you
Yeah.
to share your points? Yes, please.
Yeah, ma'am. I would like to say for making it successful, at least for entrepreneurship, we can in the institute we can motivate our student for incubation in the college itself. College responsibility is to develop a good incubation center in the college itself, and we should provide facility to the students. Okay, and second thing, as you said, in the at the very early age, like from 6th standard, they are planning to start coding and all. My personal view is at this level, I don't think how much they will be able to understand. The exact age level is good for education, right? At 6th level, if we are expecting from the child, they should learn the things of 10th level. It's not good. Otherwise, from entrepreneurship, for startups and for innovation, it's very good initiative. The only thing that in institution we should provide facilities that can make it successful.
Great. Those are wonderful thoughts, Dr. Anju. Do we have Dr. Nayan with us? Dr. Nayan, can you hear me?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. And sir, I just request you to just take, if 1 minute to share your thoughts, please.
Yeah, definitely. So if we look at these, then because for institution roles as concerned, because one of the most important roles of institution of higher education, as we know, that is to serve as well as spring of innovation and creativity. But if we expect institution to play this important role in society and the economy, and as per concern of what is the vision of NEP, so then mechanisms are needed to evaluate the extent to which they are achieving this purpose. Indeed, at the recent, if we look at see in the various conferences as per research that that is innovation in entrepreneurship is very highest at most important workout that every institution should consider, and there need only just to change phenomena of the institutions and need to create the one of the major task force and monitoring system for digitally ecosystem for that particular fostering that entrepreneurship that I would like to concern. Yeah.
Wonderful, great. Thank you so much to all my panelists for sharing their wonderful thoughts. And to close the session, since all the participants are also, somewhere asking us to manage the time, so I'll just take another 1 minute. So if we look at the overall picture, that we are getting from the various discussions which are happening across NEP, the major aspect would be how is that government, industry, academia partner with each other and improve the entire system together. It cannot only be government, it cannot only be academia. There has to be a strong partnership which has to move forward, and collaborative approach and collective intelligence is what we should look at. So that is what even NEP talks about. But how is it we come together intelligently, collaboratively, progress? And I say intent is there, as all of my panelist members were mentioning, intent is there. How is that we are able to implement it successfully? What measures do we take? How do we rope in technology in enabling this process and also monitoring this process? Right. So these are few of our thoughts, and I hope all our participants would have gained some value out of today's discussion. My heartfelt thanks to all my panelists, to the organizers, to the Yuva team for bringing us all together and having such a wonderful discussion. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Over to the organizer. Thank you so much, sir.
A special thanks to ma'am, to you for moderating the wonderful sessions in a very excellent communication.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yes, I also agree with that. Sheelan madam is a good moderator, and whatever the hour.
Keeping time in mind, I just try to.
Okay,
I'm so sorry. I had to request all
you.
of you to finish fast. Thank you. Sumaira, over to you.
Awesome. So with due respect, am I allowed to say this informal word? It was awesome. Madam Sheelan Mishra, it's amazing to see all of you amazing people at work and how all of you manage the panel discussion. I was just watching from a distance and learning a lot. So anyway, we are running out of time. All of our participants are asking for the feedback link. You guys are getting furious. So let's just count down to 5 seconds, and we will, give you the feedback link. Do fill the form and do tell us what your thoughts were about today's session. It has been an amazing session. Yes, I want to thank all of our panelists today. Of course, Madam Sheelan Mishra. Thank you so much for being with us today. You handled amazingly, as all of our mentors also mentioned. Dr. Anju Arya, Dr. Ashok Gupta, and Dr. Nain Prakash, all of you, and also Madam Unika, who recently left us. Anyway, so we will be sharing the feedback link with you guys, and the session is close.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Sumaira ma'am, it's a very nice to hear to you, and you have managed session very well, organized. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It has been amazing. It's always amazing to listen to all of you, to learn from you. We have so much to learn from you, and I really feel very lucky to be a part of this session.
Thank you.
With all of that said, thank you. With all of that said, there's the feedback link you guys were asking for. And once again, I want to thank all of our mentors, all of our speakers once again. All of you have a great day ahead and beautiful vibes, positive vibes. Thank you.